Hey, what's going on everyone? BouseFeenux here, and today I wanted to take a look at and give my thoughts on some of the things I missed in Warframe while I was away. Now, this probably won't be a complete list, seeing as I'm not entirely sure of everything going on in the game just yet. I'm still kind of getting my sea legs here, but I have noticed a few nifty things that I wanted to talk about. So that being said, let's jump in. Oh wait, what's that? You guys want to see the old intro? Okay, but just this once. Now, wasn't that nostalgic? Anyway, let's take a look at one of the first things I noticed upon coming back. These mother effing graphics, man. It looks like they've added a bunch of volumetric effects like volumetric snow, lighting, rain, and other weather effects. I mean, just a simple change like this really puts a fresh coat of paint on the game and makes it look really next gen. I haven't played Warframe on console yet, but any of you PS4 or Xbone players, can you tell me if they've added the same effects on console? If they've managed to pull it off without major impacts to performance, I'd say that's pretty impressive. Alrighty, moving on though, it seems like there are a lot of weapons I've missed out on as well, which, given their release cycle, is to be expected, and from the looks of things, they've been trying a lot of interesting mechanics to varying degrees of effectiveness. Case in point, I'm talking about the Javlock here. I haven't leveled it or used it outside of this situation, but it seems like a pretty cool... Oh, shit. Okay, maybe that's not the best example, but from what I can see, I've got a pretty large backlog of cool-looking weapons to level up and try out. Now, Riven mods seem exceptionally freaking cool, if I could ever get one from a sortie. Jesus, man, I've done like 5 sorties to only end up with Endo as the reward. Now, I realize that Riven mods are kind of like the in-game Diablo 3 and Division reroll RNG slot machine nonsense, and I like that actually, but outside of buying them from other players, I'm not entirely convinced they exist. Even seeing them in other YouTubers' videos, I'm starting to think this whole thing is just some elaborate hoax. In all seriousness though, I know a lot of personalities in the Warframe YouTube community are bashing the Rivens, and initially when I heard about them, I kinda did too, but they seem like a step in the right direction for this game. There's something cool to play with, and from what I've seen, they can drastically change how certain weapons function, which is always fun to play around with. I just really wish they were slightly easier to get a hold of. Now, as for new frames, I think the only ones I've missed are Valkyr Prime and Nidus, if I'm correct. Now, of course, Valkyr Prime is pretty much just Valkyr, but prettier and with a few stat enhancements, so I'm not really missing out on much there, but Nidus, he seems pretty freaking dope. He's like an infested version of Frost almost, from what I can tell. I'm actually really excited to level him up, throw a build on him, and take him through his paces. I did go ahead and Wallet Warrior him because I heard the quest to get him is pretty terrible, but I still want to get around to doing that quest at some point. It's called the Glass Gambit or something like that, right? Anyway, Nidus is cool, and I know they've got another frame on the horizon that people are calling the Bard frame. I'm really interested to see how that one's going to play out. It sounds kind of strange, but I'm optimistic. They've done some cool things like that in the past before, and it's paid off for them. All in all, though, aside from the things I've talked about today, it seems like Warframe is largely the same game I left about 4 months ago, and don't get me wrong, that's by no means a bad thing, because I can tell that despite rough patches here and there, that DE is still very much pushing this game in the right direction. The biggest thing, though, is there still isn't any real endgame per se. There's no real final challenges outside of farming for Rivens and re-rolling them to get perfect stats. Now, while I was away, I thought about Warframe a lot, contrary to popular belief. I played a ton of other games, and I looked at how games with repetitive loops managed to stay challenging and addictive. First up, for those of you that know me, you know that I love Monster Hunter and Dark Souls. Those two games do gameplay loop very well. In Monster Hunter, the goal is to gear up and be able to fight bigger and better monsters, right? You have the rank system, and the higher in rank you climb as a hunter, the harder things get. The bosses and big monsters are challenging and require you to have mastered your given weapon and fighting style as well as overall gameplay mechanics. On the other hand, Dark Souls kinda does the same thing with its New Game Plus system. You play through the game multiple times, with each consecutive playthrough getting more and more difficult, and the reward is being able to become powerful enough to get through each consecutive playthrough and try out different builds. What I'm getting at here is that Warframe has a boss problem. If you know what you're doing, most of the bosses in this game are easily steamrolled, and if you do beat them, there isn't really a whole hell of a lot you can get from them. Now, don't get me wrong, I know there have been a few improvements to some of the boss fights in this game over the past year, with Keladathame being one of them. That's a pretty cool boss fight, and it gives a Legend of Zelda vibe where you have to solve puzzles in the middle of the fight to prevail. Massive bosses like the Jordas Golem and Lephantis are also pretty awesome, but again, if you know what you're doing, they're all easily beaten. I'm sure that to some of you this sounds really weird. A lot of the people I know love Warframe for its horde shooter tendencies, and that's great, but after a while, at least to me, it gets old trashing mob after mob of mindless enemies. It'd be nice to have a real challenge and something to really sink my teeth into. Warframe has a great combat and movement system, and I think it could really shine with the help of some more powerful bosses. Anyway, that's gonna be all for me today though, folks. Let me know what you think about some of this stuff in the comments, and let me know about any new features I may have missed that I should check out and get my thoughts on for you guys. I gotta say, it feels really good to be back, and I'm glad to have your guys' support. I was really excited to make this video today, and I hope you enjoyed watching it. Until next time though, I'm BouseFeenux. I'll see you all at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.